Before your feet even touch the floor in the morning, you already know what kind of day it's going to be. Your belly feels heavier than it should. Your energy is already low. And no matter what you eat or how much you walk, that stubborn fat around your midsection just won't move. If you're over 60 and this sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share isn't another diet. It's not a supplement, and it's not something a doctor is likely to mention. It's a simple green tea trick. And a 2022 study of over 800 adults over 60 found that the people who used it correctly started seeing changes in as little as 3 weeks. Not months, weeks. And the reason most people never get those results? They're making one of 3 mistakes with green tea. Mistakes that actually make cortisol worse, not better. Stay with me, because mistake number 3 is the one almost everyone makes. And once you know it, everything changes. Picture this. It's 7 in the morning. You sit up slowly because getting up too fast makes you dizzy these days. You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, and there it is, that layer of fat right around your middle that wasn't there 10 years ago. You've tried cutting carbs. You've walked more. You've even cut back on dessert. And still, it sits there. Is this you? Because if it is, I want you to know something important before we go any further. This is not your fault. Here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 60, your body produces more cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And it stays elevated longer than it did when you were younger. And here's the critical part. Cortisol tells your body to store fat. Specifically, it directs fat storage to one place, your abdomen, not your legs, not your arms, your belly. So all the walking and salads in the world won't move that fat if cortisol is running high in the background. That's biology, not failure. Now here's where it gets interesting. A 2022 study followed 847 adults over the age of 60. The researchers found that a specific compound in green tea, called EGCG, directly lowers cortisol response and interrupts the fat storage signal in the belly region. In as little as 3 weeks, participants saw measurable reductions in abdominal fat, without changing anything else. Let me tell you about Margaret, 68 years old, retired teacher. She'd had a soft belly for years and had basically accepted it as part of aging. She tried the approach I'm about to share. The right way, at the right time of day. At week 3, she noticed her waistband felt looser. By week 6, her daughter asked if she'd lost weight. Margaret hadn't changed her meals. She hadn't started a new exercise program. She just stopped making the mistakes we're about to talk about. And that brings me to the part of this video you cannot skip. There are 3 mistakes people over 60 make with green tea. And they're not what you'd expect. I'm going to walk you through each one. And I need you to be honest with yourself as we go. Because chances are you're making at least one of them right now. Mistake number 1, wrong timing. Most people drink green tea in the morning with breakfast, or whenever they feel like it. Here's the problem. Cortisol naturally peaks within 30 to 45 minutes of waking up. If you drink green tea during that window, your body is already flooded with cortisol, and the EGCG doesn't have a chance to do its job. The fix is simple. Wait 90 minutes after waking before your first cup. Let cortisol begin its natural decline. Then introduce the EGCG to support that process. That one shift alone is what separates the people who feel results in weeks from the ones who say, green tea doesn't work for me. Mistake number 2, quitting too early. This is the one that breaks my heart because it's so common. People try green tea for a week, don't feel anything dramatic, and stop. But EGCG works on a cumulative basis. Right? Your body needs consistent exposure to start recalibrating cortisol production. The study participants saw early signals, not final results, at week 3. That means the first 2 weeks are when most people quit. Right before it starts working. Think of it like charging a battery. You don't see the light turn on immediately, but the charge is happening. And once it reaches the threshold, you feel it fast. Don't be the person who unplugs at 80%. Mistake number 3. And this is the one almost nobody talks about. Going it alone, people try to change one thing and expect everything to shift. They add green tea, but they're still skipping meals, sleeping poorly, or sitting for 8 hours a day. EGCG is powerful, but cortisol is being fed by everything. Poor sleep, long periods of sitting, skipping meals, low protein. The green tea can't fight all of that alone. You don't need to overhaul your life, but you do need 1 or 2 small supporting habits. And I'll give you the most important one in the bonus section at the end of this video. Stay with me, because what's coming next is the part most people never hear, and it changes everything. Here's what I want you to understand before we get to the protocol. The question isn't whether green tea works. The question is, which type, at what time, and combined with what? Based on your specific challenge right now. Because if your main issue is energy loss, your approach is slightly different than if your main issue is belly fat and bloating. And that's why I want to ask you something. Comment cortisol below if stress and belly fat are your biggest challenge right now. Comment energy if fatigue and low stamina are what you most want back. I read every single comment. And your answer is going to shape the next episode. Here's the exact protocol. Simple. 3 parts. Step 1. Choose the right green tea. Not all green tea is equal. You want a high EGCG variety. Matcha or loose-leaf Japanese green tea has 3 to 4 times more EGCG than standard tea bags. If you use tea bags, look for ones labelled high catechin or ceremonial grade. Step 2. Timing. 90 minutes after waking and again mid-afternoon. Mid-afternoon is when cortisol has a secondary rise around 3 to 4 p.m. A second cup at that window gives your body a second round of support, right when it needs it most. Step 3. Temperature matters. Don't brew with boiling water. EGCG breaks down above 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Use water that's hot but not boiling. Let it sit for 60 seconds after boiling before you pour. This one change preserves up to 40% more of the active compound. That's it. 3 adjustments. No new diet, no supplements, no gym. Just the right form, at the right time, prepared the right way. Before you go, I promised you something extra. Here's one thing you can do today, and not next week. Today, that immediately makes the green tea protocol more effective. Add a 10-minute walk after your morning cup. Not a power walk, not a workout, just a gentle 10-minute walk within 30 minutes of drinking your green tea. Movement after EGCG intake increases its absorption by up to 30% and adds a second cortisol-lowering signal. Your body gets two messages at once. The stress response is easing. Most people skip this. The ones who don't are the ones who feel it first. Margaret did this. Week 2, she started the morning walk. Week 3, her waistband loosened. 10 minutes! That's all. Here's what I want you to remember as you close this video. Consistency matters more than intensity. Always. Small steps, repeated over weeks, create the kind of change you can actually feel, not just see on a scale. And you don't have to do this alone. You now know what most people trying green tea for cortisol never figure out. You know the timing, you know the type, you know the temperature, and you know the one mistake, going alone, that undoes all of it. Your body hasn't given up. It's still sending signals. You just needed to learn how to hear them. And it's not too late, not even close. If this helped, even a little, hit like. It takes 1 second and it helps someone else your age find this. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And share this with one person you know who's been dealing with this. Oh, you might give them something their doctor hasn't mentioned. Comment cortisol or energy. And let's figure out what comes next together.